So let's talk about star signs. Now, this is going to be based solely on your sun sign and on the Western zodiac astrology. So these would be the 12 houses of our zodiac. In the future, I will be doing moon and rising signs, so do make sure that you keep your eye out for those. This is all broken down into a mini series. This episode is going to be the Capricorn one. And either you can just pick your sign or you can listen to all of them and see what you discover about other people's zodiacs. Firstly, with the signs, there are hundreds and thousands of star alignments in our skies, and this is why I say that we are solely looking at the Western astrology with the 12 houses. Every so often this whole thing comes up about Orpheus and the 13th zodiac. Orpheus is a constellation, it is a star alignment, and if we added all of those into our Western astrology zodiac, we would be hundreds of different star signs for one day. So we're going to start with Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is the 10th house of the zodiac, and it starts between December the 21st and January the 20th, and its element is earth. Their birthstones are garnet, sapphire, ruby and onyx, and turquoise as well, and their power colour is like a charcoal grey or a dark grey. Those born under the Capricorn sign are generally pragmatic, ambitious, highly disciplined, although they can be somewhat pessimistic and very stoic. Capricorns, as I said, are based in the element earth, which does make sense considering how grounded they are when it comes to being in their own reality about what dreams that they want to achieve. They are known to be master planners and they carry massive energy. They are very, very patient and happy to wait for any sort of long-term result. Boats really rule this sign, and that's why Capricorns are really persistent and determined. They're very willful and they're really focused, but they do have loftiest objectives. So Capricorn is represented by the goat, more specifically the sea goat, which means it has a body of a goat and the tail of a fish. It's a mythological creature. And accordingly, Capricorns are skilled at being really reality based and being able to navigate reality and the material world, as well as emotional realms too. Capricorn's symbol is normally represented as the foot of a goat with the tail of a fish, and it's a really grounded cardinal sign. Capricorns are known as the zodiac's workhorse, and they are known to make really long-term plans. They earn honours and awards, they become critically acclaimed, they achieve a really good public image. However, it does possess this magical mermaid tail, and that means they can plunge into the deepest depths of creativity and productivity and just put this all together. Ambition, structure, goals and achievement are the main traits of any Capricorn. So with all that in mind, the famous people that are Capricorns are the likes of Michelle Obama, Jared Leto, Kit Harington, Denzel Washington, Kate Middleton and Ricky Martin. They are liable, they are organised, they have great self-control and really good management skills. They like to have knowledge about everything, and sometimes they can come across that they know more than you do in your own field. They're not very forgiving people at all, and they always tend to wait for the worst thing to happen. Then they're not disappointed, I suppose. Family, traditions, music, minimised status and quality craftsmanship are all things that Capricorns really like. Capricorns do know that it's okay to be selfish sometimes, and people do tend to misunderstand them a lot because of this, but they don't want that. And they kind of just pretend to be kind to people. They are known to be rather ambitious, and they do come across as absolute workaholics. And when they're in a relationship, they need a partner who matches this kind of exceeding expectation in work life. Whilst this power couple thing can be quite fun and, you know, cool. When one partner is just pushing the other into it, it's actually not that great. So let's talk about the skies. Now, Capricorn's ruling planet is Saturn, and Saturn deals with limits and boundaries. This kind of means that Capricorns love the paperwork. They like business, they like achievement, commerce, security, loads of responsibility. They love bureaucracy and the institutions that do depend on it. They are a really disciplined sign, and they do concern themselves a lot with power and status. And Saturn, therefore, makes them realise that success takes effort, and they know that there's no easy way of getting to where they want to be. Saturn in Capricorn just kind of makes it the ultimate get it together act. Capricornius is a faint zodiac constellation located in the southern sky, and it was first noted by the Greek astronomer Ptolemy in the 2nd century. Capricornius is the 40th largest zodiac in the sky, and it takes up 414 square meters. Even though Capricornius is one of the faintest constellations in the sky, it has myths and images that date back to the 21st century BCE. Capricornius starts with the Babylonians and the Sumerians, and they both actually named this constellation the goatfish. In the early Bronze Age, Capricornius marked the beginning of the winter solstice, and even now in modern astrology, Capricorn's rule still begins on the first day of the astronomical winter. So the Greeks actually associated this constellation with the forest deity Pan, who had the legs and the horns of the goat. And Krotos, his son, was actually associated with the amphibious creature shown in Sagittarius. Pan was actually placed in the sky by Zeus, and this was in gratitude for Pan coming to the rescue of himself and several gods, multiple occasions. During the gods' war with the Titans, Pan actually helped scare the Titans away by blowing through his conch shell. And then later on, he warned the gods that a monster sent by Gaia was on the way to fight them. He was approaching. He was also the deity that came up with the suggestion of getting the gods to disguise themselves as animals till any danger passed. Pan actually eluded this monster himself by jumping into the river Nile, and he turned his lower half of his body into that of a fish. Zeus eventually killed Typhoon, this monster sent by Gaius, with his thunderbolts. And Capricornus therefore is still represented as Pan, the goat horns and the goat man, but with the tail of a fish. In a separate story, however still Greek, Capricornius is actually identified as the goat Amalthea, who suckled Zeus when he was an infant and he was hiding from his father Kronos. Kronos had actually devoured other children, all future gods and goddesses, because of a prophecy that said he would be overthrown by one of his children. Talking of children, Capricorn children are planners, and they crave success and approval, and they will want you to see how skilled they are and how smart and hardworking they are. So really do try to praise them as often they can for the smallest achievements. They will make wonderful older siblings as well, because they have such a natural responsibility sense. So we'll talk about some of the Capricorn's better known traits. Now bear in mind, this is just Capricorn's sun signs. Now they are really practical. They're pretty resourceful as well. They're very patient and they hate to be kept waiting, but they are very disciplined, and they will patiently wait and stick things out to the bitter end until they reach success. They read people really well, and they will literally know within a matter of seconds if they want to be involved with you or not. And they can get pretty brutal with their words if they don't really like you. They are really dependable and good for their word, but they are seriously ambitious and they just drive to succeed in anything that they do. They are born skeptics. They have no interest in rumours and they like to work out all facts and all sides of stories before they come to any sort of conclusion. They aren't quick to forgive and forget, like, at all. If you're in a relationship or a friendship with a Capricorn, they will constantly remind you of your past mistakes. They don't make stupid decisions. They're really calculated and they're pretty clever when it comes to things like that as well. They are quite good at advice, but they're not very good at giving it. When they're hurting, they will just bottle everything up. They don't express emotions very well anyway, and they're very good at just kind of staying quiet. Their stubbornness makes them refuse any sort of help or even to ask for it in the first place. They have a habit of overthinking and stressing over the smallest of things. However, this makes them kind of take a while to open up. But once they do, they are fiercely loyal. They take commitment really, really seriously and they'll fight through any sort of tough times. They do tend to be extremely passionate in their romantic relationships, but it takes them a long time to get actually involved with a partner, to the point where they feel this freedom and this relaxation to be themselves. But once they do, they love and the passion that they have will be evident every day. Their most compatible signs are Virgo, Taurus, Scorpio and Pisces. Their least compatible signs are Aries, Libras, Geminis and Leos. Overall, Capricorns are really well put together people. They know what they want in life and they absolutely drive to achieve it. They're pretty good at attaining any of their goals. They work really hard and they also work really hard in their relationships. However, they can set really high bars, which just kind of makes it seem like no one's ever perfect enough for them. Solus Signum Capricorni. This has been the Capricorn episode of these sun signs. Now I will be doing Aquarius and Pisces next, and then that's the ending of this series. We will then be moving on to moon and rising signs after that. So make sure you stay tuned and get to know all about your personality.